Hey yo, welcome to the episode number 6 of this podcast or whatever it is. And I just had an amazing nap. So I'm feeling really sleepy, but also feeling really good. It's also kind of getting really late, so having very chill kind of vibes and very calm energy. Although so many things happened, had an amazing celebration day yesterday. Just one of my relatives had a birthday party, and it was very just calm, chill, very beautiful, very relaxing, very peaceful, very like really like a good type of energy, good type of memories really left from that day. And then I've also been really busy. Really wanted to record these daily, and I understand it's probably going to be really difficult, but it's okay. It's not a problem. Still trying to make them as often as I can, and yeah, so that's the kind of thing. One of the first things that comes to my mind, and I have it in my notes, is it's kind of crazy that YouTube decided to remove the dislike button. And obviously there's like a ton of discussions and people saying all kinds of theories why and this and that and blah blah. And I would say, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's very obvious that it is beneficial for manipulation and more control and more, like, people who have more power, basically corporations, like big organizations, political organizations, and things like that. I haven't seen the statistics, but I believe those types of videos receive a ton of dislikes, and if that is removed, their campaigns, their advertising, all those things are not gonna be visually so disliked. There's no gonna be, like the opinion of the people, or what's it called, really forgetting all the words right now, god damn it. But yeah, the popular opinion, I guess, the opinion that like kind of most people have, you can see it under the video. Like if it's like a shitty video or a shitty narrative, people are against that, so it's very visual, and it kind of turns into like a, you know kind of like a shit show in the comments and all that. But now it's going to be hidden, and I don't know how much it benefits, or really if it's gonna change other people's opinions, because it is also a true fact. Because I believe that some people would land on a video, see that majority don't like it, and they will automatically fall into the frame of not liking it without understanding why or having an opinion. So that can be actually a good thing if people have to kind of think for themselves. And I don't know if it's gonna like create that kind of environment or even gonna lead there, but the point still remains the same. They've removed the dislike button, which makes it very weird. Many good videos that explain why it's such a important feature specifically on YouTube, like social platform. Like, yes, Instagram doesn't have a dislike button, or Facebook doesn't have that, but those are treated very differently, and like the algorithms and everything else behind it is very, very different. So it makes a lot of sense to keep that like dislike ratio on YouTube. But whatever. Anyway, again, don't really know why, like, or what's their true intention behind that. I feel like it's not good, but we're here. And one of the things they said is that they're doing it to prevent the creators of being like emotionally traumatized, or like to take care of creators' mental health, because the dislikes and things like that, they can be very hurtful and harmful. And I don't know if it's true or not, but whatever it is, but this trend is kind of growing slowly over time, and it is very scary, because it is almost like this another invisible movement, like a trendy thing all over the world, and it is like protecting the hurtness, protecting like the feelings, avoiding any kind of critical feedback, avoiding anything that can basically hurt. Even if it hurts in a good way, it's still like people and society tries to just exclude that all the way, like to the fullest. which looks like a horrible idea. And this really what it does at the core. If let's say a creator, and I like deeply, I don't believe that's the main motivation behind removing the dislike button, just to be clear. But if we follow that theory, right, because it's official one. So now let's say a creator creates, but they post like a video or something like that, and people hate it. They go like attacking, being all negative. The thing is, the creator themselves, they can learn from that. They can understand. They can actually become better by understanding why it's bad, since they receive the negative feedback. Because not everything you do is right. Because you can literally do an absolutely horrible video towards like something like brutally wrong type of things, and you wouldn't get the negative feedback. Like you can literally make it like a straight up like hateful video towards, I don't know, like a country or a race or things like that, and now you're not even gonna have the negative feedback to yourself, to your like mental understanding, which doesn't make any sense. Because now it's easier to hate, now it's easier to spread the negative information if you're a creator. And now it's also safer, because people who, well, typically speaking, by the types of personalities and things like that, people who are like, I guess, leaning towards spreading hate or that are hateful, they're at the same time they're very fearful, because, well, the way I believe things work, whenever you have hate towards something or someone, you have some kind of a let's say virtual or visual picture in your mind of having a conflict with that person or with that thing, or I don't know, if you hate spiders or things like that, you have like a reason, like a deeper, smaller maybe context, or some kind of an imagination of why it's bad or why you don't like it. Which also means you have a picture of that thing or that person hurting you or giving you this negative feelings, emotions, whatever it is. So since you see a way how that can hurt you or make you feel not comfortable, make you feel not safe, or whatever it is, that means there's fear living inside of you. And like having people who like have these like deep rooted senses of fear in them spread the content and try to, like, post whatever agenda they have on social media is even more dangerous. That's how I feel. Is even more dangerous because, now the dislike button is removed, so they're not gonna get that like full-on like wave of hate on them. They're not gonna receive like the like what the fuck are you doing type of thing. And that is kind of scary. It becomes more chaotic. And also I think just for average like YouTubers, and I think it's also hilarious in a way, but at least it was some kind of control. Like you search for like how to fix this bug in the phone, and it's a shitty video with like horrible audio. It doesn't solve a problem. It just gives you some kind of promotion. If you're pissed, at least you have that tiny funny control to be like, fuck this shit, put a dislike and like leave a nasty comment, because this person just like stole your time. Like they promised it's gonna be a solution, but it's not. So you have some kind of revenge or whatever it is. I don't know how good or bad it is in the end, but it remains a fact. Like people like to have control, and they actually need to have control. And obviously dislike button is not in control, but like on like the ultimate grand scheme of things, it's hilarious that to even talk about it. But even that tiny little thing where you can just put a dislike is now taken away. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And as I said, these trends are kind of expanding very rapidly in terms of you cannot like say something negative, you cannot give any like negative feedback or say something bad or things like that. And well, if you can't, then how is the person gonna understand that this is okay or not okay? Because if you say yes to everything and everyone, then there is no place for the no. word. You just cannot say no, or you cannot give them like negative response. It means you just have to reply yes to everything. Like whatever people say, whatever they create, whatever they do, it's always yes, 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 yes. Like that's the direction where we're going. And this is, again, I feel like it's a disaster, and I see it a lot. And actually, I've been thinking so much about this, but it's very clear that basically there's more and more people, the newer generations are becoming a lot more traumatized. They feel a lot more insecure, and like there's no hate against them. It's very understandable why, because the world is in a really shitty place, and it's only going to the like worst direction, and there is kind of no hope at this point. And you cannot blame someone who like is like full of energy, but they don't see like a future for themselves. They don't even like have a hope that future is going to be good, because like the economy is going down, the all of the manipulations, shitty like environments are all going down, the climate change, it also messes things up. And then like what can you actually do? Like there is not a lot of like space for you to kind of like find yourself or develop yourself. It's really uh, I guess again you can understand that. But then comes the other problem, is that as I said, I believe like a ton of these like newer generations, and specifically like young people, are extremely hurt or traumatized, or like they're just like buried in their insecurities. And the healthy way out of it is to become stronger, like heal that, release that. Don't attach yourself to your trauma, to you feeling bad, to like people saying nasty shit. Like don't personalize yourself with those words or those things. Like actually get rid of that, and like remain focused on and kind of like healthy on yourself, within yourself. And I would thought that the best way is to actually give like critical feedback, give like negative feedback in this case, because it doesn't sound nice when someone tells you like straight to your face like that you're doing something wrong, or this is bad, or this is like a bad trait that you have. Because, well, the way I think, or the way I'm used to kind of doing things, is you would give negative feedback, and the person then can work with it to like think and analyze that. But when person is really hurt, they can't. And at this point, you can't even tell them anything. So they're kind of left to just struggle, because they cannot, like in a healthy way, get out of it, because they cannot process the negative feedback. They cannot like really work on it, because I guess at the core there's like a way too much trauma. And also, before I continue, I want to say I feel like this is really coming from like a chain of just shitty dating and shitty like marriage and the way we create families right now. Because as I said, in the like one of the previous videos, the dating scene is the most toxic environment right now that we have. Is the most unhealthy, the most traumatizing, the most dangerous, the most hurtful. It's the worst fucking shit that we have. And this is where people connect to then have a family. And then at this point, people don't even have families. They just have kids, and then someone leaves, and basically there's one parent with one kid. That's kind of like, it's scary to think, but, and I don't have the statistics, but I'm afraid that that is becoming the norm, like, because everyone is doing that. This is now considered like normal, or it is gonna be like eventually considered normal, because having two parents is like some kind of like crazy fucking madness. Like that is super rare. You're privileged, and like there's probably like literally like a direction towards that way at some point eventually. And well, yeah, a kid growing up with just one parent, or growing up with two parents, where like one parent is extremely like fucking broken emotionally, has a ton of trauma, and just spits all of that on the kid, so kid becomes traumatized. And then let's say another parent is also twisted with their trauma unhealed, and they also share that on the kid. The kid grows up until like 18, 19, 20. They have sex, they have kids, roughly let's say 20, 25, 30. It's like a 10-year gap, and they still haven't healed that. They have to find a partner with most likely another person who is also traumatized because they also had the like shitty parents, shitty environment, statistically speaking, because yeah, on the average, really what matters is the statistics. So then they are gonna have a kid that is gonna have it even harder because yeah, it's just going down and down and down, and there is no kind of like actually healthy way out of it, because we're just like, again, in a dating environment, it's all about taking. It's just taking validation, attention, taking the sex, taking the pleasures, taking the benefits, taking the time, the money, the like, just abusing the partner or the person who's in front of you, and there's like zero respect or any kind of, I don't know, mutual like feeling of responsibility towards each other, things like that. There's nothing being done against that. And like ironically, or I don't know, not ironically, but I actually feel like teaching like how to date and how to have a relationship in schools would be 5 billion times beneficial for our society and the future of the earth in general than teaching them some fucking bullshit history of arts or something like that. Because like, again, society is just like slowly falling apart, especially in the extreme like western parts of the world. People are straight up saying, I just want to be like a single parent, which is a very big indication for an ego issue where you don't want to deal with other people because you like lost your like faith in whatever, you like don't believe, you don't have hope, there's no intention to work to figure things out. So just for you, so you're comfortable, you're deciding to be alone. And how that is going to impact on your kid, you don't care, because well, when you're full of insecurities, people just want to have their kid as their product. Like, he's gonna be or she's gonna be exactly like how I want to be, like this way, that way, be cool like that, have these ideas, have these ideologies. It's not your item that you purchased, it's a totally new person, so you have to like really raise them up with respect. And it feels like there is no discussion around that. There is just like, have a kid for myself, raise them the way I want, and yeah, at some point it's gonna, I feel like it's just gonna be the main thing. So whenever this kind of kid grows up, you cannot blame them for being traumatized. Of course they're gonna be traumatized, and it is really fucking difficult, and you can't even say anything to them because, you know, there people, some people are like that. Like, you give them negative feedback or you say something negative about like how they are or something that they do, and they really can like work it out, they can understand it, think about it, like take it in, and then actually grow from that, like progress from that, like evolve from that thing. And that situation is becoming more rare, or it is just fading away like entirely, like it's being erased, like this is going away. And I guess it's very hard to say if it's good or bad, because yes, on one hand you're not, you know, not hurting them, and they're not, I don't know, like, not sure how I can finish the sentence, but the point is, if you give them like positive feedback or try to support them, then they're not really gonna heal that. They're not really gonna like fully healthy inside mentally, like calm and really like not angry towards something, not trying to compensate against something. And just as a side note, but this type of human, this type of person is just a paradise for selling them some shit. Because if they're insecure about how tall they are, how they look, how they say, how whatever it is, they will have like a ton of problems socially, with dating, with friends, with like being accepted. And socially, like really, like it's a rare thing, nobody ever talks about how social part of our lives is important, but this is the brutal part, like probably one of the most important ones, because everyone wants to be accepted and at least have some kind of like group of people who think like they think, like a team, like, you know, there's like someone on your side. So a person extremely traumatized, extremely insecure, you can sell them the cool shoes, the expensive phone, the like expensive like watches, hats, whatever it is, like anything. You can sell them anything, telling that this thing will solve all of their insecurities. Obviously, you're not gonna tell them like that in a, like a straight up way, it will be like signaled through all these kind of like indirect ways, which then basically gets into human brain, and they're like, oh shit, like that's what I need, that's what everyone does, I need to like express myself this way, that way. And then all of this just leads to more misery, because these things, you know, you invested them, you invest your money and time and everything into them, and you don't get anything back except a quick hit of pleasure, like, oh shit, man, like it feels great, yeah, like fuck yeah, you know, I achieved something, I got something. And then it slowly decays and like falls out, and then it just kind of becomes maybe worse, maybe not worse, but you don't care about the thing that you got. You're not really like truly peaceful and calm inside. So the problem is not going away, and this is the trend of just kind of like hiding the problem under the carpet and just leaving it there, pretending it's not there, because the carpet is covering it. So kind of doesn't, like, it looks like it's the problem is not there. So with all of this things where, you know, like there's no negative feedback, no things like that, I feel like this YouTube button again, the dislike button, I don't know if it is connecting to that or not, but it just made me remind, like, it made me remember, not remind, god damn it. Yeah, like with all of these dynamics, and really thinking, again, going back to these like insecurities and the way that like a ton of people have the trauma right now, and there is no way for them to solve it. There is almost like there is no way to deal with this thing, because with all the things you see with like hate on social media, Twitter, people like organizing groups and all of these things, is just that, yeah, people who got a ton of insecurities, they want to be in a group, because that, you know, that brings them that kind of like the backup or the team that they have on their side that think the same. And yeah, they just go spread their theories, information, they just push the narrative, trying to kind of like not battle their own insecurities, but just force people to like treat them with respect or things like that. And yeah, again, none of this is leading to a healthy dynamic, because they themselves create another conflict. They push for other external things, and then the worst thing, really, like every single person wants to have power and control over the situation, over their life, over like a social situation, over like their economical situation, or like even like political stance and things like that. People want to be in control, they want to have that power. As a side note, which is I believe why games are so popular, video games, because in video games you have full control pretty much over like everything that is happening, and it is very like addicting. You can't really feel powerful, you can feel the strongest, the most important, but whatever, I'll talk about that later. But the point is, people, let's say, that gather into a group and push some kind of narrative, they can actually start feeling power, and power is very addicting. And if you're very, let's say, emotionally like unstable or unhealthy person that has some kind of power, it will be abused in a second. It will be just starting, like, it will go downhill in just like, you will not even notice that, because these are like really difficult things to actually handle and balance. You really need to have like a trained ego. You really need to be like aware of what is going on. And if you look at our society the way we are right now, there is actually like not a lot of people who can do it that are in positions of power. Even like the presidents and the people who run governments and all of that. There's not a lot of that like deep kind of, I don't want to call it self-development, but like deep self-control, understanding where, you know, like you really have the power to change things, but maybe you're changing them for the wrong overall. And appearing being wrong in front of like a crowd or your fans or your entire country that supports you is brutally difficult. You don't want to be the loser or the one who appears wrong. So you don't want to drop your ego. You don't want to like go against it. You want to protect it, be the cool, be respected, be trusted. So it's a really tough situation to be in. And yeah, all of this just kind of doesn't seem healthy. And I'm mostly talking about like the newest generations that really don't have the, I don't know, like a someone who can lead them towards like a better solution in a healthy way. It almost feels like impossible. Yesterday I was watching one of the um, I guess influencers you can call, or life teachers, whatever it is, but he mentioned that the only thing you can do is to just listen. Basically, whenever these people like try to like talk and let it out, let their trauma out and actually express how like difficult and shitty it is, like the abuse that they have went through, the type of like absolute misery they have been like living in, you really have to like just listen and let them speak. Do not like share your emotions and or things like that. And I've never thought of that. I've actually thought that it's better to like talk with them. So whenever they're kind of expressing their own trauma or like letting it out, it's good to like hear that, but also like say something back to show them like a proper maybe direction or your opinion or things like that. And yeah, I don't know if it's right or not. I feel like it is also always important to tell the truth, or tell, okay, maybe not your opinion. That's kind of like a difficult like little thing I'm trying to like get into here, but um like definitely if you feel like something is wrong or incorrect, it is important to, like, if you feel like there's a truth on your side, it's very important to say that, explain why. And it's a very tricky thing because with a person that is like brutally traumatized, anything they hear that they don't like align themselves with would feel like it's against them, like it's a bad thing. And they just won't let that in. They will not hear it. They will only hear that you're attacking them. They will only like see that you're trying to hurt them even more. So they'll close off from you even more. And yeah, my biggest concern here, and I'll switch the topic very fast because this got really fucking sad. I actually wanted to talk about some funny shits, but um, my biggest really like fear is that this is happening very, very fast. And all of the things, like the environment that we are in right now, where the social media and all the digital things are just like, people are born with it. They are just growing up with an iPad instead of their pillow. Like, how is that gonna be a healthy thing in the end? Like, there is no human connection. There is no like, there even like understanding where you are socially, things like that. Again, the social part is like a brutally important thing that we kind of skipped as a society. There was always these like, money, of course, that's the first one. Then there's health, and then there's like love, romantic relationship thing. Then there's also spirituality. You would, well, I guess I would say spirituality and maybe uh, like religion. Some people would go to church. Some people would just like study some kind of like energetic things and all that kind of stuff. In only like four kind of factors. But then there's another one, which is the social part. And there's like so many studies that show like you need to have a day, not a day, you need to have time in your day when you talk to people, when you communicate, when you're listening and you're speaking, and there's this engagement happening, and you can see human eyes in front of you. You can see them like reacting to you and talking with you. You can like, there's this kind of exchange of energy that happens when people socialize. And again, talk about the VR, the lockdowns, and all of that. We didn't even know, like, I guess maybe people knew, maybe it's all of a big conspiracy, and the whatever the fuck group of people that like own corporations, or whatever, what are they called, the Illuminati, like they knew that, they took it away just on purpose to like fuck up the whole system. I don't know, maybe that was the case or not, but the point remains the same. Like, there was not a lot of emphasis on the social aspects of our lives, and now it's completely taken away. And that's a huge thing that causes a lot of just depression and sadness and people feeling shitty. Yeah, so the trendy things are scary. I just feel like I don't know how it is possible to like get out of the situation as like an entire humanity, like as a big group, because yeah, like a ton of new people who are being born have like a ton of issues, and we just kind of don't do anything about that. It's just like, yeah, fuck it, just like, you know, leave them, like let them struggle, nobody gives a fuck, and then like this is not just gonna disappear over time. They're gonna grow and grow. There's gonna be more of them, more groups, more impact, more hate, more new movements with like all kinds of like new trends and styles and people like expressing themselves and just like weird senses of humor, weird expressions, weird trendy things, weird just like weird mindsets, just everything leaning towards strange, awkward dynamics that are kind of not meant to create something healthy in the long run, like for the future. Yeah, anyway, fuck it. Talked way too much about this thing. But again, as I said, it's fucking really concerning at this point. And then another thing I wanted to mention is I don't know if I want to cover this one or not, but yeah, well, in the news, I guess it was like a week ago, or not a week ago, maybe like a month ago or something like that. What basically China is banning the feminine men, which is absolutely insane. Just like that kind of like that sentence and that whole kind of decision is really crazy, but it also makes a lot of sense, and it's really like interesting to see that. And also politically, I'll just say I would also not also I would always look at United States and the kinds of things they do, and I personally think it doesn't matter where you live in the world, whatever is happening in the United States has an impact on you in like a direct or indirect way, because there is just well, okay, except maybe, right, if you live in China, although even that is a big question because they're very tied together. Um, and maybe some other like little country like Switzerland that is just like magically disconnected from everyone. Basically, everywhere else, there is some kind of reaction to what is happening in the US, either politically, economically, with the like commerce wise, culture wise, again with all the like tech gadgets, all these kind of things. There is an impact. That's the whole point, which is why it's important. I feel like it is very important to pay attention to whatever is going on there, and with them kind of being judgment free and just letting everyone do their thing and kind of like explode and kind of grow and express themselves the way they want. It's very obvious that they're like heavily competing with China. It's very interesting to China decide to go the exactly other way around, or not the other way around, but exactly to take the opposite stance, to just ban any of these like softness, like guys doing makeup and things like that. And I think that is good for their society, although I guess you don't know like where can the problem actually be, because if guys who are there, they are, let's say, already very deep into like, let's say, doing makeup and being looking pretty and looking very like tiny and skinny, if like it's deep rooted into their minds because that is the cool thing, that's like how celebrities look like, that's what, let's say, girls respond to, then it will just become like a bigger problem because guys will still go for that. They'll still try to do it. They'll still try to kind of become that. And now it's illegal, so it's gonna be just like a black markets and like more negative things about that. If it still hasn't peaked to some kind of like levels where it's like accepted by like bigger masses or like lots of guys, lots of like smaller groups, then I guess it's gonna be fine. And again, and also I can say it's not surprising because China itself is kind of like a like strict regime where everything just has to be aligned with what only like government wants, which is shitty. But if extreme situations come in, let's say in your country everyone decides to change their gender, every single person, then who's gonna have kids and what's the future of your country? It's almost like that kind of means that in like, let's say 300 years there's nobody living in your country, like kind of like that, right? If it's slowly happening. So but if you prevent people from doing that, if you say like that's banned or that's not allowed, that fucks up a lot of people who are actually, let's say, by their nature feeling that they are the other gender, or like they want to be like another person or whatever it is. So those people are struggling, but at least you have a future for your country. They'll have kids and they'll have grandkids, and people will keep living and kind of like remain within the country. Are they gonna be happy? I don't know. Are they gonna be like mentally stable and like, you know, they're gonna be productive and actually doing the like good things for the next future generations? I don't know. that's the crazy weird part. But again, it's just super surprising to hear that kind of decision from China. And it's also very scary to see, because realistically, like, where is the limit? This is the government's like, and it's kind of annoying at the same time how basically governments becoming like this big mommy and daddy that just like take care of the kids. And if you just live in a country, it's like your parents deciding everything for you, what you can do, what you can't do, where you can go, where you can't, like all of these things, like with the lockdowns and everything else. I think it is annoying thing in itself, and it also creates a lot of problem. And I don't think we have like a really healthy solution towards these things, which is probably okay, or but there is a ton of tension there. But then on an individual level, right, let's say in the West right now, this is a really, really big thing. Like guys are doing makeup. I've been doing like a ton of research for YouTube, like how people do YouTube, like specifically the new channels, kind of how they start and things like that. And there's a ton of channels where guys that are talking about literally like makeup, how they take care of their skin, how they like do their nails, and like all of that kind of stuff, how they buy the clothes, how they want to look good with like the fashionable trendy new things and all of that. It's all like extremely feminine, and these channels are growing like very actively. There is a lot of attention there, there's a lot of demand for that. There is this, again, another kind of hidden spike in the social dynamics, like where they're going. Okay, not the social dynamics, but the dynamics of the population or interests, or like cultural kind of dynamics, because you know culturally men are leaning towards like being more like this or more like that. And yeah, I don't know, it's just it's really confusing. I don't have like a message here or something like that, but it's crazy to see things shifting like that, also shifting very fast, because with all of these social media and all these like connections and devices that we have, the information spreads really quick. If it's a new cool thing that just comes up, people kind of notice it. Someone wants to compete. Someone gets like new ideas. You know, it's very easy, not very easy, but you want to be special. You want to be different, and this is one of the ways to be different. This is one of the ways to become special. It is like you're just doing something entirely new. Although even though like at this point it's not a new thing, as I understand, guys have been doing like that kind of like content for years now. But yeah, it's just something that I discovered recently, so it's shocking for me. Cool. Totally forgot what the timer was, so I have no idea how long I'm talking now, but it's all good, doesn't matter. Last thing I want to mention here is back to these crypto and NFT. These are the topics. This is how I'm gonna do these podcasts. It's just like random topics, totally not connected, but yeah, that's the whole point. The NFT games, crypto projects, and all of this stuff, it is again trendy like crazy right now. It's all over the place, and on any social media you'll go, you'll see like it's the new thing. It even like gets into the news. So uh, I'm very curious, and it makes a lot of sense because well, crypto and blockchain, all of these technologies, and NFTs specifically, um, they make a lot of sense for all of the digital like things. Basically, like I just said, the most obvious thing, but here's what I mean. The more things you can do in the digital, which is like something like a video game or an environment like that, the more these technologies make sense there, where you have like a totally unique item and nobody else has it, or like it's like something extremely rare and you can basically have like a very rare car in your GTA, and it's like totally your car. You can kind of sell it in real life to another person and nobody can like copy it, things like that. So it makes like really a ton of sense for these environments. Therefore, all of the gaming projects that are built on these crypto systems are really like where the true future of this is, because like once like really mainstream like craziest video games decide to switch to like this environment and do monetization through NFTs and all of that, this is where it's gonna have like an extremely major shift, because now basically attaching extra bonuses to these NFTs and things like that will have a ton more, again, impact and a ton more benefits that you can claim, again, in the virtual like metaverse world or whatever it's going to be at that point. So the good news is, to kind of keep things short, it is still coming and it's going to be in the future, so that's awesome. There's a lot of opportunity to actually like find these games, invest into them, because they'll grow. Of course, it's very tricky to find them because there's 5 trillion fake projects that are trying to be that, to pretend that they're that, to just grab the money and kind of like run with it. So me, as I'm curious and I'm really trying to like test and learn everything, even though I don't like video games kind of by their nature, and I don't even connect myself to crypto as much. I was curious and I tested some of these video games that you can play right now that are like meant to be the crypto, like based on crypto, basically where you can play and you can earn something and you can like share all of these like coins with others, sell them, like there's like this market in themselves. And the reality is that, as I just said, basically like majority or all of them right now is just a basic shitty scam, like an attempt to grab the money. Like they are trying to present that there is something, like we have like a crazy new project, like it's going to be like $1 billion, $1 trillion market, and then their video game is like a simple like Tetris game or something like that. But like their focus, here's what I'm really trying to say, their focus is very clearly on selling, because if it's just a simple Tetris game, they have a ton of different like skins, versions, colors, like you can buy this avatar, that avatar, you can like improve the way it looks, like this, and like there's a ton of ways how you can spend money. But the actual like value or the actual like game that they try to create, it is just a copy paste of some crappy mobile game that used to exist like 20 years ago. It's literally that. So that's how God damn it, I'm dying over here. That's how really bad it is right now. And the worst part is, like 99% of these projects are straight up casinos. Like you have all of these like, do this, like spin the wheel, get that little bonus. You have like 5 tickets, play with these 5 tickets, and you know you're like playing Tetris or some like Mario or something like that. And to play again, you have to kind of like pay. And when you lose, it's like, you know, pay a little bit more to continue, pay like a little bit here and there, and it's like, it's a disaster. Basically, it's like a legalized kind of like casino. And the worst part about all of these things, which I find so hilarious, there is no registration button. There is no way to kind of like register There's no like your email and blah blah things like that. You connect to these all of these like games and projects with your like crypto wallet. With your crypto wallet, which means you like can pay from it like right away, and that's where you receive all your prizes. So it's all just based on like straight up monetization and money exchange. And to me, that sounds like the worst disaster ever. Which, if let's say things continue going in that trend and all of this keeps happening, then basically 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now, all of these gaming projects, all of these crypto games and things like that, it's all gonna be it's almost like a casino, like where you have to pay and you can win, and you have to like, basically you can put bets, you can risk it, you can like do all of these things. And the like gambling addictions, the gambling problems, the people doing stupid things with their money and taking risks and all of that. Yeah, I don't know, it feels just scary. Combining all these things, combining when a person is not stable enough to just maintain their like healthy balance in life overall, just to be like fine and calm when someone says like, hey, you motherfucker, you're ugly and short, and not to be hurt and start fighting with them, but like laugh at it and be like, yeah, you know, it's cool, whatever, man, you look great, like that's good news. I look bad and short, but you look great. You can like easily go with that. People who are like easily hurt by their like insecurity, unstable, like not secure, not in control of their emotions and like their environment. Now, you know, if we switch to the VR and to all of these like gaming projects where everything's monetized, everything is set up basically as a casino, it just looks to me, not, I'm not joking, it literally looks to me like there's a chicken on the farm that's just like being held, like it's being tied to some chains or something like that. It's being given some food, and they're just farming those eggs. Once it's old enough, they just kill it, and like it's being thrown away if it's not good for the meat. This is what it looks like the humans are gonna be in like some kind of like near future. You're just gonna be tied to all of these like little projects. You're like massively insecure, massively like unhealthy inside. There's no way to help you, and you're just being farmed, just like basically milked, so you can produce money, or you can just do kind of like something, which is like, you know, the ultimate level of slavery. Or basically at that point you're literally like being treated as a, just like as a farm chicken or like a thing like that. And I don't know, it's a disaster. It's a total fucking disaster. I don't know if it's gonna like happen or not. I hope not, but seeing some of the trends and how slowly things are shifting and where all of it is going. Also, I'm saying this because it is kind of clear how, you know, some types of people, they act and how they behave. And you know, people who are not willing to deal with the like difficulty of dealing with this like negative feedback and difficult things, like something that's like painful to hear, they would lean to the easy way out. And the easy way out is gonna be these environments. Like, let's say you can earn money in the crypto world. It's the easy way out. You don't need to like do something difficult and actually like, you know, try to improve yourself, improve your craft, your skills. You can just like, you know, be an assistant in this like VR world, or do something there. It's easier, it's more fun, and then you earn your salary there. You can probably even like, at some point you're probably even gonna be able to pay your bills with those earnings and that money. And then with all of that, you can, you know, put a little bit here, gamble a little bit here, do this, that, and then yeah, it. And by the way, I'm just saying, but also this can end up in a really amazing environment where people actually maybe it would make so much sense for someone living in like a shitty like seventh world country where there's fucking nothing, but somehow they have electricity. If they can play in this like game and earn something there, which will probably be like 20 times worth more than them doing a shitty job in their own country. So that brings that equality in those opportunities, which is amazing. it's also scary if it goes wrong and everything goes to shit and people just start like scamming and just like literally milking each other as much as they can. And unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening right now. As I said, like majority of these projects, like if you look at the picture, and this is another fucking problem with society, like people only look at the picture. The presentation is amazing with all these projects, is always amazing. There is like amazing team, there's this, we have this, we are doing that, we have amazing plans for the future, we're gonna like donate here, we're gonna save the world, we have like all of that is beautiful, magnificent, just like high class luxury, just like loving it so much. When you actually get to the point, like, so the process, the functionality, what do you actually have? Garbage, like literal trash, like nothing is developed, nothing is there. There is like 99% effort that went into market and items that you can sell and how you can improve and sell here, buy these gems, buy these bonuses, buy. And the actual like function, the main function is like 0% went into that. Like 1% of effort actually went into creating that part, which is supposed to be the main one, which is the part that actually gives the experience to the user or to just the average human, like who's gonna use these platforms. So for the user right now, nothing is being done. The only thing where the main like effort, the most effort goes is into the market side of things, where people can just spend and spend and spend and spend and spend. And so we're already off to a really bad start. Way too many scams, way too much bullshit. Although also it kind of shows you, this is the good part of crypto. This is like free for all, like everyone can do whatever they want. And it also shows you the true intentions of majority of people, because literally like maybe there's like 1-2% of projects that are really trying to make something good, and then the rest of them is just trash, either like straight up scams or very close to that. So these are the average statistics, how people like kind of like treat each other on the market and like trying to like, you know, make something big or something good. So yeah, I feel like I wanted, oh yeah, no, it's not the end. Here's the part I was talking about before. The presentation, like the way these projects are being done is like everything goes into presentation and nothing goes to the actual like function. And this is very scary, because this is also how most people live their lives, because everything goes into presentation. It's just that you want to look good in front of others. And it doesn't matter that it's all shitty and like miserable when you're like alone by yourself, when you're like, you know, you have to like really express yourself or like show your personality. Like people are trying to get rid of that and like pretend that this is not there and only focus on this like presentation part of things, because that's how they feel, you know, like they're being judged. And all of this again comes from insecurities. Anyway, whatever, I'll probably expand on this in the other video. And yeah, that's it for now. I hope I have some time more tomorrow. So yeah, that's it. This is the end.